Wow. Good day for it today, you know? Beautiful day. It's the day after Thanksgiving today. Well, I'm going to tell you some stories about how people proceeded from the point where you've arrived at now, how they proceeded and succeeded, some of them in the face of great odds. How they succeeded where many others failed. That's what these stories are about. And as far as just getting signals, like making the connection, connecting to your ability to cure things, um, and having that flow of cure coming in, uh, there's a spectrum, of people. Like we get all kinds in coming in here, Okay, so on one end of the spectrum, a woman wrote to me. It was a while back, a few years ago. She, the only person who ever said this to me. You know how like we don't even we start showing you what the signal, the good feeling signal looks like in a few minutes. But as far as like starting to get signals, until you watch Molly getting signals, you probably aren't gonna start getting signals, right? And that you're like 10 minutes into the movie or something before that happens. Well, this woman wrote to me and she said the minute I started talking, from the first moments when the movie started. In the movie she saw was just me talking. She said her fingers started to move. Her fingers started jumping. And she said from there, it just like every third, fourth thing I said, her finger would jump because she was, resonating with it, I guess, whatever. I mean, I hadn't told her. And she said then she came on the point where I talked about getting a signal through your hands, and she realized she was getting signals the whole time. So she is the extreme end of her end of the spectrum, and then all the way down on the other end, you get people writing in. We get two or three a day that write in. I can't get a signal. Help me get a signal. What's happening? How do I get a signal? Please. Please. They say, please write back to me, whatever. And I mean, a lot of good it's going to do to write back to them, but hey, And so, I'll tell you something though. Funny thing about that, you get me 100 people, any 100 people in a room, and I will have 97 of them curing things in 20 minutes. Oh boy. So what's that about, I mean, or 92 of them. And yeah, in like after when the 3 hours we're together is over, and everybody else has been curing things for 2.5 hours, and there'll still be these 3 people who can't get a signal. See, in a group, they ignite each other. They ignite each other, But these people didn't get ignited. There's these 3 little guys, didn't get ignited, And they want to. Like at that point, they know it's real, and everybody's curing things, and they really want to, and they can't. Something's going on there. They'll get it tomorrow, when they're, maybe they need to be alone. But see, that's the problem. Like you're probably saying, well, okay, so the problem is that the people who are writing the emails in, they're the 3 people, right, who can't get a signal. No, they're in the 97 who would get a signal, except they're doing it alone in front of their computer. And there's just no ignition going on, And I'm going to tell you a story about one of these people who couldn't get a signal, who succeeded, and First, though, maybe I should tell you another story. Um, because a good question, the question that you should be asking is, what about, I mean, I would be thinking of this if I were you. What about if I follow all the directions, everything I've seen, you know, how to cure things, and I'm doing it all, I'm getting signals, I'm getting all the signals, I'm feeling great. You know, I'm feeling that, getting that relaxed feeling. It's wonderful. I'm enjoying it. But the disease is not budging. You know, when I go back to the doctor, the doctor is telling me, sorry, Charlie, only the best tuna get to go in the can. You know, it's like, you still, it's, you know, the numbers are the same, you know, you still got it. So what happens then? See? But you know, there is something else I should mention before we move on, which is, you know, those 97 people who were getting signals? Well, you know, they enjoy it and they love it and they're doing great. But this is, see, it always goes the same way with groups, by the way. Like every group I've seen is like this. You know, you have the 97%, 95% of them, they start instantly. You know, those people in the street you were seeing instantly. But they don't ever think about it again. When they leave for the evening, thank you so much. This has been wonderful. What a great thing I've learned. Never give it another thought. And you know, I think I know why. Because in no group that I've ever heard of have people been asked for what I'm going to ask you for now, which is be someone who cures things. Right now you are still most likely somebody who doesn't cure things. You've learned how. You are getting signals. Okay, this is how to proceed if you are getting signals. Which, you know, I would hope people who are getting signals will watch this. Please make the change, because no matter how many things you cure, you will never be anything but somebody who doesn't cure things until you choose to change. You must choose to become someone who cures things. And I don't even think I can tell you how to do that, but I can ask you. I am asking you to be someone who cures things. Your family needs you to do that. You know, the people you love need you to do that. You know, and stop and cure all your emotional things, because you're exporting this illness to them, these emotional illnesses to them, and you know, all the dysfunctions, you're exporting all this dysfunction to everybody around you. Stop it. Now you can. You are out of excuses. You've learned how to cure things now. So do so. You know, just don't do this anymore. End the suffering that you're causing for everybody by being sick, by being dysfunctional. They want that. The world needs you. The world needs you to be functional. You know, we need you fully on deck and 100% present and ready to go. That's what we all need. Everybody needs that from you. Okay, so yes, I got these two stories I'm going to tell you. You know, one is about somebody who managed to get a signal, and but first, you know, here's a woman. Now, this is a great story. I love this story. This woman was long ago, early '97. Okay, we had lessons up. I don't think we had passwords, so we just had the lessons up, and people could just come in and do the lessons, and most people ignored them. They were only text lessons. There were no movies. No audios. But here comes this woman, and she starts doing the text lessons. And she starts, you know, curing things. She had no problem immediately. She was doing it. And you know what? I'm going to call her Janine because I don't have permission. I haven't talked to her in years. I'm not sure how to get in touch with her anymore. And, you know, we didn't know to ask people's permission. See, now See, this is before the cure drive, okay? Now we have disclaimers all over the place. If you write to me, whatever you say to me is public property, whether you send it to the cure drive or privately to one of us. We don't do private. This is not private. It's a public movement. So we will air it on the 6 o'clock news. We will use the movie you send us in some place where you don't want people to see it or whatever. So if you don't want that, if you want your privacy, we're the wrong people to be talking to. And I speak for the entire organization and everybody in the Cure Drive. And I'm speaking for you too. When you join the Cure Drive, you have permission to send anything anybody sends you about curing things to anybody in the world, including all of us. You know, I give you that permission now. So you should put them on notice. And okay, anyway, that's the way we do things. So, but anyway, I didn't ask her. So, you know, she didn't come in under this agreement. So I'm going to call her Janine. Okay, her privacy I will protect. And she had ovarian cancer, and there were very few people using the web college back then. So I had lots of time, you know. Anybody who came in, I just wanted to talk to them as much as possible to find out what they were doing. And as a matter of fact, Janine came up with many of the things that you do in the lessons. We had a lot of conversations. And some of them I came up with, but she inspired them when I was talking to her. And some of them she came up with, but there they are. And this came from many, many people. What you're being given here, they gave it to you. You know, Janine gave it to you. So, so here's this wonderful person, and her cancer is not budging. Okay, she's doing all the things and like you remove the cancer, you remove all your pathologies, and you remove the cancer, and it wasn't happening. And we were just having a lot of fun talking. You know, she had all the time in the world to spend on this because she was on disability from work. She had a very, responsible kind of and very high level job, and she got good money, and she could afford to go, because it wasn't like she decided she's not going to do medical treatment. But meanwhile, she was going to the doctor every week and telling him, no, I'm not going to do medical treatment, at least not right now. I'm going to see if I can cure this. And she was looking around, trying substance. She had tried a bunch of things, too, before she found this. And been going on for weeks. So we were talking, and so here's this person who, I'll tell you what, she went about this, this curing thing in a very smart way, okay? Because, as I say, she had a very responsible job, but she decided not to work. She said, I'm not trying to cure cancer and work, okay? Like she was smart, She was just really smart about it. Like stupid people try to work when they've got cancer. It's like, what? But then they say, I've talked to so many people, and they say, well, I can't take off time. I can't afford it. I need the money. See, all of that is dysfunction. And they go, no, it's really my circumstances. The economy is bad, whatever. No. It's dysfunction. People rise above their circumstances. Nelson Mandela rose above his circumstances. See, people like Nelson Mandela are simply functional in certain ways. Maybe very, very functional in most ways, and so they just rise above their circumstances. Martin Luther King, functional. Mahatma Gandhi, functional. They rose above their circumstances and changed the world. And you know what? If you don't think that's possible for you, there's a book called The Secret you should buy and read it as many times as necessary until you know what I'm talking about. Because this is what functioning is. The more you cure, the more like Martin Luther King you will become. Okay? That's how it works. But this woman was very smart with curing, okay? she was a manifester too. You know, she had the secret. I mean, there was no such book as The Secret back when, you know, when I knew Janine, but, you know, she had the secret working for her already, you know. She was there. And so she was going weekly to have her cancer monitored, and the numbers were not changing, and we were doing this, and this went on more weeks. And I didn't know what to tell her. And she wasn't pushing me for solutions or anything. We were just talking, you know. But I was pushing myself for solutions. I felt like helpless and alone, or I was really scared, you know, about this, you know. Because one thing I knew is this has to work for everybody if they do it. If they don't do it, fine, you know. That's your problem. You don't do it, you know, it's okay. Lots of people die every day, and I don't worry about them, you know. I don't, like, read the obituaries and stuff, you know. It's not my thing. But if somebody is doing it, then it's got to work, right? So I was casting about, but I didn't have anything. I had nothing. You know, I cured a couple of cancers, but for the other people, boom, you know, that was it. It just turned around, you know. Wasn't turning around for her. And I didn't want to lose her. I'd gotten to really like her, you know. She was my kind of the teacher's pet at that point. Anyway, so I told her, number one, I said, take a walk morning and afternoon for about 3 hours, you know, and just work on this stuff, you know, and take whatever lessons you test for. And one of the lessons she tested for was trauma removal. Now, you know, before I get into that, I want to say that this is not the formula I give people at this point in our, you know, in our work. Okay, what I tell people with cancer now, or some lethal disease, is I say, you get everybody to your house who cares about you curing this. And you know, they meet you at 6 o'clock in the morning every day, 7 days a week, and you exercise together, and then you make, you know, take showers separately, but then you make breakfast together, and then after breakfast you sit down and you know, hit it hard. You know, you do the whatever comes up to do for each person in the from the web college, you know, and you just keep doing that, and you test through the hub together every morning. And then you work on those things, and that's what, of course, you do. That's part of your program, too. Except you're not doing it with everybody because maybe you don't have a lethal disease. But if you got a lethal disease, you don't take chances. You have a lot of ignition, a lot of input, a lot of, you know, feedback from all these people all day. Okay? You know, and you eat lunch together, and then you take a break, and then, you know, you meet for dinner, and then after dinner you hit it hard again, and you know, you also take walks with people and meet them in the afternoon, and everybody sits in little groups of 3, and you have this whole thing, you know. I talk to people about this, but with her I didn't know, you know, so I just told her, take a walk by yourself, and she was doing it just fine anyway. So still in all, I mean, this is what I would have told her to do now. God, I say, this thing isn't clearing up. Okay, if it doesn't, it's got to turn around immediately. You know, a few days, that's it, you know. You go for your next test, it turns around, you know. Okay, maybe your next test is 2 days later, it might be a little early, but, you know, if it's a few days more than that, no, it's got to show improvement. Maybe not cure, but improvement. So, okay. So I didn't know what to tell her, and I said to her, this is what I said. I said, we were talking about past life trauma, and you know what? I was very hesitant to tell this story because there's 2 problems that people can get into from listening to me talk about this. Problem number one, people don't believe in past life trauma, so then they say, oh, this is about past life trauma, there's no such thing, and boom, they're out of here and they die. And that would be my fault, you know, because I told you the wrong thing too early, you know. But And of course, anybody who's like that is an idiot anyway, so maybe they deserve to die, arguably. But I don't really want to be responsible for somebody dying just because they deserve it. You know? But you see, the other problem is that everybody is going to say, oh, this is about past life trauma. Oh, I cure my past life trauma and my herpes will clear up. Curing past life trauma is not how I cured my herpes. I will say that right now, okay? Although I don't know, because I was taking out an awful lot of all kinds of trauma before I ever discovered I could cure my herpes. So maybe I had already taken out whatever it was I needed. I don't know. But the other people who cure herpes, no, I have not seen them cure past life trauma, okay? And then cure their herpes. I don't think past life trauma curing does that much, frankly. You know, Oprah had this MD on her program just a few weeks ago. A friend of mine told me about the show, and he hypnotized the audience, you know, and he showed them how to cure past life trauma. I think it must be obvious to you at this point, this is not hypnosis, okay, what you're doing here. It actually removes hypnotic trances. That's one of the things you remove, by the way. A lot of people have residual hypnotic trances they're walking around in. But anyway, for what it was worth, she said a lot of people got, you know, they felt good from doing it, you know. So, but anyway, but as the story goes, in her case, I said, you love removing past life trauma. So when you've done all the other things you're supposed to do to take out the cancer, do your past life trauma, but do a full hour and a half walk in the morning and a full hour and a half walk minimum in the afternoon. And just do whatever comes up. So if you have extra time, take out past life trauma. Well, a few days later, she said to me, I think I've cured my cancer. She said, the other day I removed a past life trauma, and she said, I never felt anything like it in my life. She said, I was so calm and so clear. She said, I was the most alert I think I've ever been. She said, my whole body was vibrating. And she said, this went on for about 5 minutes of the vibrating. She said, everything I looked at, and she was in the forest, I guess, and she said, everything looked beautiful. Everything just looked wonderful and peaceful. And she said, I could see every detail on everything. I was the most perceptive I've ever been in my life. And she said, I went to the doctor yesterday, and I got a call, and he said my numbers improved. You know, a little while ago he called me and said my numbers improved. And I think that was the thing. I think that trauma was the thing. I think I've cured my cancer. And I don't know whether that was the thing or not, but she cured her cancer. The numbers kept improving after that, and, you know, of course she was pounding away on it every day, you know, but she pounded away on it till it was totally gone, and that was the end of it. So, and now I will tell you the final story in this little series here is this woman had Graves' disease, and she was diagnosed with Graves' disease and looking around for a cure. So she came on our website, and you know, she couldn't get a signal. Okay, she's one of these people who couldn't get a signal, and she was trying to get a signal, and it wasn't happening. So she did in that situation what any sane person would do. She got a beginner's kit. Because she said to herself, well, you know, there's no other cure for Graves' disease, so this better work. And the first thing she did, of course, the beginner's kit, you get both books and you get, you know, access to the whole web college and everything. And you also get, you get these bumper stickers. You can put them all over your husband's truck. He'll be so excited. Anyway. So the first thing she did, you know, a lot of the cure shows are in MP3. We made them MP3 so people can download them, so you won't have to sit in front of your computer and listening to a cure show. So she downloaded a ton of these cure shows into her iPod, not just the ones on Graves' disease, but like on all kinds of things. And she's walking around listening to these things. and looking to how people cure things, and trying to imitate what they were doing. Nothing. Still couldn't get a signal. So then she was a walker, so she decided she's going to go, going out with a friend one day. She went over to her friend's house to pick her up and go for a walk by the marina where, I used to live across the street from the marina, actually, by some coincidence. So they were going, in San Francisco, they were going up on the hill, and she said that, she goes to her friend's house and she's wearing the headset, right? Because she was listening to a cure show when she got to the door, and her friend said, "Oh, what are you listening to?" Casual conversation. And so she started telling her sad story about curing the Graves' disease, which she didn't have any symptoms at that point. But she heard it had been picked up on one of her exams, I guess. Or maybe she had mild symptoms or something, but her friend didn't know she had Graves' disease, but she started telling the story about curing the Graves' disease, and her friend said, "Oh, let me listen to that." The friend starts in the middle of this cure show, right? Instantly, she started getting signals. And somehow she showed through it, like some interaction that took like maybe 10 minutes after that, she was getting signals. So that's how she ended up getting signals. It just was a total accident. As most of these cures were that I have told the stories about, they were just, perseverance is the mother of happy accident. That's the moral of the story, Oh my God. And yes, Virginia, there is a lesson too. So I shall be seeing you, over there. Or actually I won't, because I'm a movie, but, you can always send me an email or something. Let me know how you're doing, and we can talk, See you later, alligator. Catch you on the next go-round.